This is the Weighing In podcast with Rick and Gina. This podcast is a collaboration between Empower Weight Loss and Lifestyle Coaching and Next Step Lifestyle Coaching. In this episode, we explore how the very thing that we rely on to make every decision in our lives, our brain, can quietly mislead us from the little things to deeply held beliefs. Yes, the wonderful brain. It can distort our perceptions, misdirect our reasoning, and, the real bullseye here, undermine our own efforts to manage weight. So, let's put some common dieting decisions under the microscope to see if they actually hold up. Can I trust my own brain? Is coming up next. Okay, all right, Gina, here we are for our next podcast. This one, we're going to have to figure out what the title is, but I was toying around with the idea of, can you trust your brain? Can you? I mean, if you can't trust your brain, whose brain are you going to trust? Right. Can you trust your own brain? I would think the answer is obvious, but it's not.
Well, it should be, anyway.
It certainly should be. And this is yet another one of those areas where we'll present and discuss a lot of sort of everyday examples, but we're always going to bring it back to weight management because that's our main point. And I think it hits really hard when you look at some of the ways that our wonderful brains can deceive ourselves around the choices we make and the conclusions that we draw. It's particularly interesting around weight management.
Being aware of that gives you the ability to figure out what to do.
Well, isn't it such a theme of all of our discussions? Awareness, and fighting like that whole internal sense that somehow, some way I should be able to just do it. The old Nike slogan.
Right, exactly.
What's wrong with me? So I think obviously this is just another chapter in the book of, no, you shouldn't be able to just do it. This is really hard, and there are some pretty compelling obstacles in the way for everybody trying to manage their weight in this culture. Oh, and with these brains that we have, which we'll kind of get into here. Couple of upfront things, as always, tip of the iceberg. We picked a few examples here, but there are just so many, we can only hit on a few. I do think it's acknowledged, it's interesting when you state it this way. Our extraordinary brains, as brilliant as they are, they have built civilization as we know it with airplanes and skyscrapers and AI and you name it. Yet they find it very hard to eat just one cookie.
Right.
Isn't that incredible? So there's like kind of a balance here.
Yeah.
Between the brilliance of the human brain, it's extraordinary. What a machine. Everything that we have is from it. And yet, boy, does it fall short when you're trying to say no to a Dorito.
Yeah, and doesn't that make it harder? My brilliant brain is not really helping me out here.
It kind of reinforces that whole, I should be able to do this. I mean,
that's exactly right.
I'm not
and then the judgment starts with what's wrong with me. And then we go down that path of useless, but very normal conversation.
So what will come up in this, just by means of preview, is that our brains, as brilliant as they are, we're wired for immediate reward. We've talked about that before. Immediate gratification sort of rules the day, especially now in 2026. It's like never before. We're wired for avoiding discomfort. We did a whole podcast on that, the comfort crisis. We're wired for social belonging.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes we all need our quiet time, but we deeply, on a fundamental level, want the approval of our social groups.
Well, and connection too. So stay
connected. And connection. And that can mess with you around weight management. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
So these things are often running the show and we're unaware of that fact. So I think that'll become clear as we move into this. And we're going to have some fun right up front. I'll just introduce one last term here for people to remember as we go through the many ways that our brains can trick us. The term, the sort of the highfalutin term is neurocognitive humility or neurobehavioral humility, but let's just call it cognitive humility. All right. And we all need to have it. Again, it sort of flies in the face of agency. I should be able to just do this. I'm right about that. Recognizing that our brain is powerful but unreliable. And we have to question our conclusions and our views of things, including our views of ourselves. And again, we'll keep putting that weight management spin on
Yeah.
it. Our brains, as great as they are often wrong. Yeah.
Exactly.
All
And then
right.
on the wrong path, for sure. Okay, let's go. Let's have some fun with this.
Yeah. So, okay. So I'm going to, I've already told you, I haven't shown you these, but I told you that we're going to start where a lot of these conversations around cognitive humility start. Probably the most obvious ways to show that the brain does deceive us, and it's going to happen in real time right now. I want to show you some optical illusions. Okay. So let me just say to people listening, if you're watching on YouTube, great. We post these on YouTube. If you have Spotify, figure out the way to put the video on if you'd like to see what Gina is seeing here. And other than that, hopefully you can stay along with the gist of the conversation just by listening. Okay, let's start.
Okay.
Gina, I give you the checker shadow illusion. If anyone's just listening, we have a checkerboard with 2 different color checker squares. Tiles A and B on this checkerboard are the exact same color. Do comment.
No, they're not. So for those who cannot see this, A is clearly gray.
Yeah.
And B is clearly white.
Yes, or
that's what
very
my brain
dark gray, light gray, or
right.
If you wanted to.
But they're not the same.
Gina, is there any way that they could be the same color?
No.
No. So you're pretty clear they're a different color just by looking at it, if you weren't knowing that this was an optical illusion.
Yeah. If I would be willing to bet money that A is gray and B is, I think it's white. And the only reason it looks kind of darker gray or darker white is because that green thing is in the way.
Yeah, the shadow is being cast on it. Yeah. Okay. So what if that certainty, you sound very confident. I'm almost ready to give you some of my money to bet on it.
Yeah.
What if your certainty, that certain feeling that you have right now, just isn't true? It's just not true. The story that you're telling yourself, these are absolutely, unequivocally the same color. It's not true. Let me show you another slide where they just connected them. What are you seeing?
Well, I'm seeing that A is still gray and somehow now B is darker.
But it's not.
Wait a minute. Go back.
Just by connecting them, they're actually the same color. So this is called the checker shadow illusion. And it, as it says here on the screen, the effect has to do with the way our brains interpret color and shadow.
Interesting.
Yeah, so one of our conclusions, I want to make sure we're saying this a lot. You can't stop your brain from generating distortions like this, from making cognitive mistakes, but you can stop treating them as facts.
Right.
That you make decisions on.
I was 100% willing to bet money that they were different colors. So if I'm going to gamble everything on that, and in fact my brain is tricking me, then I might be in trouble as it relates to food.
Such a good point.
Right?
If your brain can trick yourself about something that's as in your face as 2 colors on 2 squares, what is it going to do about this endlessly complex food environment that we live in, with this even more complex human brain that we have, trying to make sense of it all? Yeah, this environment that human brains have never dealt with throughout all of history. Cognitive humility.
And this is fascinating.
I'm
learning about my own brain.
So you never know. Might be another conclusion here.
Oh, no.
Okay, you ready for the Sander illusion?
Okay. Ready.
What if I were to tell you the red lines are the same length? Think out loud.
I would say that is untrue, because the first line, so what I'm looking at here is a rectangle kind of tipped on its side. So it's angled, and there's one.
Let the engineer in me put a little finer point on it. It is called a rhombus.
Oh, a rhombus. Excuse me. I never did quite do very well in geography.
That's our geometry.
Geometry. I didn't do very well in geometry either. All right. Anyway.
Yeah.
So that first line, it's in a bigger rhombus.
Yep.
And it looks longer to me.
Yeah.
The second red line is in a smaller rhombus and it looks much shorter to me.
So the story that your brain is telling you, and my brain is telling me the exact same story. The red line on the left is clearly, it's inescapably clear that it's longer than the one on the right.
Yes.
But, when I first saw this one, of course, you know what I did? I cut it out of the paper. I laid it on top,
Oh,
and
you
they were
did?
the exact same length.
You did?
I
You took a while
absolutely
out.
did. Oh, no. Yeah, no. I'm just like, and this was quite a while ago. But again, what's our main point? If your brain can craft the delusion that two lines here are the same length when they're absolutely not, what can it do around the complicated world of weight management?
Right.
It becomes a circus. And so often we're deceiving ourselves. So often. So
Yeah.
it's not a fault. It's just how it is. It's how our brains are. And we have to accept it. And more importantly, we have to just be aware of the fact that we may not always be exactly right as we're drawing our conclusions about our lifestyle, health habits, or our weight. Okay, the classic Mueller-Lyon illusion. What the heck is that? Okay, you see that those lines that are extending from the sort of sun star image in the middle, they start black and then they go purple. The purple lines are the same length as the black lines. It's kind of similar to the first one.
Mm-hmm. The purple lines are the same length as the black ones.
Just pick one of those lines emanating from the center. The purple lines are the exact. Now, isn't this one even more like, nope, no way. The purple line cannot be the same length as the black line. Are you seeing it?
No. Yes, it's much shorter.
Not just short, much shorter.
Much shorter.
No, it's the same length.
This is kind of boggling my brain.
Yes, well, I can almost tell you that after this call, you're going to be pulling out a pair of scissors and cutting your own pieces of paper to see if they're the same length. Yes.
So, do tell.
Your certainty is an illusion. And unfortunately, you just bet the last of your money on this one, and now you are destitute.
I'm broke.
Yes, you're broke on this one. Okay, I couldn't resist just inserting something here out of the goodness of my heart, my profound benevolence. I held back from taking that optical illusion and showing Gina the one where there was movement involved, which makes it even harder and more deceptive. So, Gina, you're welcome. So again, if you're watching this, look now at this moving version of this illusion and look at the purple lines, look at the black lines, and if you're thinking that they are different lengths or that the lengths are changing now, your brain is in error. And we all need to humbly accept that our brains are often in error. Okay, this next one, you might find yourself borrowing money from Jeff for this next one. Okay, so this one is
these are like mind, you know what's, you know what I mean?
This one I saw recently, and it was another one where I started folding the paper and whatnot. All the lines are at right angles and parallel. None of them are skew. This is called the slanted lines illusion.
No. No. This is not. No. I wish you could show me how it is not like that. Right?
If you take your time, we can't do it here, it's a podcast, but if you take your time and really look at the distance, the height of the black square.
Okay.
Go over here. Look at the height of the black square.
Okay.
Do you see that they're the same?
Yeah.
All the way across? And yet your brain cannot see that.
No, it cannot. But it's interesting. It's because the blue lines going across, or those thicker bands,
right,
are diagonal.
They appear to be diagonal, but they're not.
Really?
They're horizontal. They're parallel.
What?
Mind blowing.
I need a different pair of glasses. I think I'm going to go get.
Oh, it's the glasses. Okay, I got you. Maybe we should start working with our members on their prescriptions as well.
Right.
Perhaps
right,
maybe
right.
that could be the difference.
Oh, Wow.
Yeah, that one blew me away. It
Yeah.
literally blew until I looked at the black squares and said, "Oh my
Mhm.
Lord, they're all the same. The lines have to be parallel, and they are, but your brain is telling you a different story."
Right.
And so the moral of the story is cognitive humility. We can't stop our brains from drawing incorrect conclusions at times. I mean, these optical illusions are sort of gaming the system because
Yeah.
everyone makes the
Yeah.
same mistake here. But
Yeah.
it's really just our first foray into just making the point that these brilliant brains of ours make mistakes.
Hmm.
And we're going to bring this back to weight management. And I think hopefully in a very powerful way.
Yeah.
Okay,
You know
can I
what this
give,
makes me think of?
yeah.
I just thought of it. Do you remember? Forget when it was, but it was definitely a number of years back on Facebook. There was like I don't know, a challenge or a viral moment
The
where
dress,
the dress,
the color dress,
the color of the dress, and the people were like there were fights over
fights. Oh, yes.
that
The
the
dress
dress
is
was white
blue or
or
the dress was
blue.
white. It was like blue and
Yeah.
white. I think it was blue or white.
Yes.
And
And it was like people would bet. I mean, it was fascinating how convinced you were, and it was just an optical illusion. And it's just, I guess, how your own brain saw it. It reminds me of this. You know, we're so convinced that it's right.
isn't that what you've just brought up? Isn't it interesting that people were siloed on this? That you had the blue people and the
Hmm.
dresses white people. I think it was
Hmm.
white. Forgive me if the colors are wrong, but and it got heated. It got emotional.
Hmm.
People get deeply invested in being right
Yes.
about things. And then they get emboldened by the other blue dress people.
Right.
See how right I am.
Right.
So yeah, it just shows like this tendency to want to be right and to want to be correct is a very strong one, and some people will just die on that hill.
Yeah.
And what's our little phrase in Friday Mindfulness?
Yeah. Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
Do you want to be right? And let's just be pointed on it. Do you want to be right with your kid or your spouse? And like, I'm going to be right. I'm going to continue to gather evidence and prove my argument. Or do you want to be happy?
Right. So here we could say with weight management, do you need, do you want to be right or with your, what you think,
Mhm.
or do you want to have the outcomes you so desire?
Yeah, let's put a bridge
Yeah.
in there. Can you consider that there may be more different ways to solve this problem
Right.
than giving up,
Right.
taking the weekend off, switching to a different program? And this guy in my neighborhood, intermittent fasting. Oh, I'm telling you, he sings its praises.
Yeah.
All of these things
Mhm.
can get pretty jumbled in
Mhm.
this wacky world of weight management.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the last one. The white circles
Mm.
are not rotating in a circle.
Okay, come on.
What
What?
are you seeing?
I'm seeing white circles rotating,
White
uh,
circles which make up a circle.
which are in a red circle,
Yes.
and they are their own circle,
Yes.
rotating counterclockwise in the red circle, without a doubt.
Each white circle is going in a straight line.
What?
Now, yeah,
Wait, what?
yeah,
How
I
could
know.
it be? I don't even get this.
Take one circle, one white
Yeah,
circle, and
see, geometry. I told you. I failed geometry.
look at any one of this. Pick one white circle, the one that's going to 12 o'clock right now, and then
Okay.
watch it goes down to 6 o'clock, and then it goes back up to 12 o'clock, and then it goes down to 6 o'clock. Every one of these white circles is simply going in a straight line across the diameter of the ball, but your brain can't not see.
Oh my, now that one of all of them is that's the biggest, you know what, mind, you know what.
You could make entire life decisions on the fact that that circle is rotating within the circle when it's not. But it sure looks like it.
Yeah, that's probably the most powerful one of all of them for
Yeah.
me.
So again, we're kind of gaming the system, going to the extremes, just to sort of introduce the idea that our brains are in fact fallible and able to, and often do, make mistakes. And it's just every single one of those. You bought them hook, line, and sinker. Bet a little bit more of the house than I thought you would have up front.
Yeah,
I think you put it all on black in that first one.
I'm done now. I'm done. No money. I should just go home, go to
I,
bed.
I would suggest not going
Pull
to
the sh-
Vegas.
No, no. See, that's why I'd never, I'm terrible. I would lose all because I get very convinced of things and make decisions because of that. And isn't that what we're sort of talking about, right?
Yes. So again, I think when certainly with optical illusions, but as we move into cognitive biases and then some very specific things we say to ourselves about weight management that are very invalidating and disempowering, we need to at least pause for a moment and ask the question, should I be just a little bit more humble about my absolute certainty here?
Right.
And the answer is yes, because when you are, it opens doors to greater progress than if you're making these sweeping black and white decisions.
Yeah.
All right, let's.
All right.
I'm going to hit on two different cognitive biases. One of them that's often called the granddaddy of them all. It's the one that people suffer from the most, and we're talking about confirmation bias. Dun, 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 dun. We look for evidence that supports what we already believe or what we want to believe. We sort of backfill in the support or the arguments. And the other side of that is when there's evidence that is disconfirming of your belief or your view, we tend to downplay it or ignore it entirely. So you've heard the examples. You buy a red car, all of a sudden you see red cars all over the place.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard, this is a classic, this actually happened to me when we were first expecting with the kids. I think it happened both times. We got the minivan.
Yeah.
We did our shopping for the strollers.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I saw, oh, look at that mini. Oh, that's a Toyota. Oh, look at that one. That one's a Volvo. So it was minivans and strollers everywhere. Nothing changed except my view of it and my awareness of it.
They were always there before.
How about this one? What if you've decided your neighbor's a jerk? Not too hard to find evidence of that, right?
Right. Yes.
He's doing it again.
Everything they do.
Oh, well,
everything.
Yeah. How about even neutral things?
I was going to say, even if they did something that wasn't even that bad or even borderline nice,
yes,
he's still a jerk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He does something nice. What's he got going on here? He's being nice.
Exactly. There's going to be something behind it.
Yes. Confirmation bias. Totally invalidating it. What if you heard that a restaurant was overrated? You'd go there. You would be like looking at everything that potentially could go wrong and starting the checklist.
Yeah.
So that's just what happens. So I have a great example for weight management with this one.
Yep.
This happened within the last 2 weeks. Now, help me unpack this one. This woman, frustrated, said, everyone else in the group is doing so great.
Yeah.
You ever heard that one?
Yes.
Yes,
absolutely.
except for me. Right.
100%. Yes.
Is that true?
No.
Is it ever true?
Never. Ever.
Say more.
Yeah. I mean, so people struggle. A lot of people are on the struggle bus because of the nature of what we do. It's a struggle. It's challenging every day. But when you're convinced that you're struggling and you're the only one, everybody else is shining. They're like a shine. They may as well have like a halo.
Yes.
Yeah, no, everybody struggles. Everyone.
So what's the story that she or he is telling him or herself right there?
Yeah, the story is that why bother, and it's too hard, and I'm gonna fail, and
it's hard for me. It's easy for them.
Yep, isn't fair. What's wrong with me?
All of that. Yeah. All of that.
And I mean, and that's being nice. I think people even speak more harshly to themselves, but I mean, I'm a failure. I'm a loser. I'm destined to be fat. I mean, that's, people are very hard on themselves when they get into that mode.
Hopelessness is a tough thing. What's the point? Is a brutal indictment. So just put that one back under the microscope. Everyone in the group is doing great. And I just asked you, is that ever the case? And you just said, never.
Never.
So here's an example, very weight management centric, where the brain is basically generating a story,
Hmm.
which is really a distortion. It's an illusion.
Right.
It's not real.
Right.
And yet, can you see a scenario where that person or some other person makes a whole series of decisions based on
Hmm.
that?
Yeah. I mean, they could even leave.
Are you
Right.
kidding?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right. So it's sort of like going back to the circles that were in a line, but really to me they were going around and around. I mean, I
Mhm.
was convinced of that. And that's a just a fun little optical illusion. But if you're super convinced that you're failing and everyone else is doing well and you leave, then where are you?
Yeah.
So yeah, your brain can really get you into trouble.
Absolutely. By the way, I'm going to send you that circle, and I want show Jeff. I want to hear what he says about it.
I'm going to. I would love I can't wait to show it to him.
That was an mind
Yeah.
blower. Okay, so confirmation bias, we collect evidence in support of our belief,
Mhm.
our view, our opinions, and we tend to discount other evidence, and it doesn't tend to work so well with
Mhm.
weight
Can I
management.
say one more thing about
Please.
that?
Yeah.
So, our lives are ruled by social media, good or bad, they just are. Um, and algorithms are based 100% on what we're talking about,
Yes.
the
Yes.
cognitive bias, right? Or confirmation bias.
Absolutely.
They understand what you like, so they keep sending it to you, and it only continues to confirm what you think to be true.
That's right. In fact, go
Yeah.
back to that intermittent fasting example I just did earlier. Just so happens in the last couple of weeks, the biggest sweeping analysis of intermittent fasting came out ever than ever before, and it concluded the same findings
Saw
that the
that.
previous ones did, which is there's no real advantage to it for people compared to just regular methods. But
Mhm.
boy, you hear one person, a powerful anecdote, and then you go into your social media and you start generating those algorithms, and all of a sudden, all you're hearing about is how intermittent fasting is the answer.
Yeah.
Boy, again, today's world is harder in many ways to be right, correct, factual than ever before with
Yeah.
those influences.
100%.
Yeah. All right, we'll just do one more. So confirmation bias is a biggie. And again, what we're doing is just unpacking the fact that as brilliant as our brains are, they are often wrong. And we have to be humble about that fact.
Yeah.
So here's another one, motivated reasoning. Probably my favorite example of everything that we're going to talk about. You and I joke about this one a lot. It's kind of similar to the confirmation bias where what we want to be true, we will start with the conclusion
Right.
and then whatever works best. It's kind of like the failure syndrome, whatever allows for the least amount of pain. So here's the great one. This is the best. It was a terrible week. I deserve a break. It was a great week. I'm going to take a break.
Right.
Why is that so compelling? I just love that example, maybe more than any other.
Well, because I think your brain can convince you either way. I mean, the action's the same, taking a break, right? But isn't it funny how you're getting to that? Your brain's trying to convince you.
Yes.
It's interesting. Yeah, that is a really good one because
It's
I've
just
heard both.
they're polar
I've
opposites. It's
told,
almost like you could even say this week was so neutral. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. I
right,
think I'm just going to take a break from weight management. If
right,
that one works, then it
right,
works. You pick the one that works best for you.
right, right, right.
You know, the brain starts with the end game. I want the pizza, so let me go through
Yeah,
the data banks and
and make
find
it work.
yes,
And make
yes,
it work.
yes,
Interesting. Yeah, that's
yeah.
so interesting. That's a good one.
The only other thing I'll say about that is that we have a super powerful inbred need to appear and to be consistent. We don't want to seem like we're a mass of contradictions, certainly to other people. You know,
Hmm.
we'll do anything to, well, I didn't mean that. You know, we don't like to appear inconsistent, and we don't like to appear inconsistent to ourselves. And that's where that machinery sort of gets turned on, which is I want to eat the cookies, and I pretty much know I'm going to eat the cookies. So I'm not going to say I'm a horrible person. I never keep my promises. You might say that after, but in the moment, you want to preserve that identity as I am a consistent person. You know, my behaviors are in line with my goals. And so you just come up with a wonderful sounding reason why it's okay to
Right.
actually take the break on the Friday night,
Right. Well,
right?
you just make your brain line up with what it is you really want to do.
Yes,
So it
absolutely.
feels better. Because,
Yes.
like, to your point, nobody likes to feel inconsistent about their behavior.
No,
They need to justify it.
absolutely. The need to justify things to be consistent and to not
Yeah.
feel like you're a master hunter is very powerful. So, okay, so what do we do in the face of that? Because hearing this doesn't mean people don't do it. This is really part of the architecture of the brain. Well, what do we always say? Focus on things that you can say yes to, right? The whole to-do philosophy.
Right.
And we said this in our last podcast, aggressively manage your environment so that you're reducing the instances where you are facing those more difficult decisions. You had asked, remember, there was a soundbite that we use. I think I remember what it was. Do you remember saying that in the last episode? We were doing the USS String Bean, and you're like, we used to have a saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The,
I
the,
think it. Well, tell me if this is it. I might be wrong, but it was if you're gonna use willpower, use it at the beginning of the chain to set up a supportive environment versus the end of the chain to somehow, some way, just say no to the cake. I think that
right. Yeah.
might have
That,
been.
that I remembered, but that wasn't it. This one was more like, if you want, and I don't think it was willpower, if you want weight management to work, make it about managing your environment first rather than trying to manage every food decision you make or
Oh,
something
that's
like that.
pretty good. I like that too.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because then the
But
food decisions are sort of automatic if you've managed. I like
mhm,
that one a lot. I do
mhm.
remember that.
Yeah, I
Um,
think environmental control, it's such an old concept, goes way back to our early trainings, but it's just, boy, isn't it just like a common theme for what I've been doing this, gosh, 30 something years, and you too, in all those years. It sort of runs at the bottom, almost like the ticker tape,
yes.
because if you don't have a supportive environment and your brain is trying to convince you of something or trick you, it's just really easy to fall into old habits. So yeah.
Ultimately, you're always going against your own baked in physiology. You just are.
Mhm,
That's who we
mhm.
are. Okay, so we did a few optical illusions. That was funny. It's introducing the idea of you can't trust your brain. Now we just looked at a couple of the many biases out there: confirmation bias, motivated reasoning. It was a bad week. I deserve a break. It was a great week. I deserve a break. It just is humbling how we will just figure out a way to enjoy the high calorie food. Okay, let's now really laser in on some common thinking traps with weight management. I've only got 3 of them here, but let's embellish it a little bit. I blew it
Mm,
for the day, and it might even have happened before noontime.
right.
I blew it. So, from your experience, what often paint the scenario where someone draws that sweeping generalized conclusion?
Well, I blew it. Basically, is a green light to
Hmm.
just keep eating whatever you want for the rest of the day
That's right.
with no thought or reason around trying to problem solve your way out of it or change anything. It's just green light, Pizza Hut, here I come. Yeah. And it's also rooted in real feelings, in real thoughts that you're somehow, a failure. And going back to the original conversation about the woman who thinks she's the only one, it just reinforces all that. And so you're just going down the
Is
wrong
there,
path.
is there anything that feels more true in that
Mhm.
moment?
Right.
I blew it
Right.
for the day. I don't know if I shared this on the podcast. I informally was calling it the 3 potato chip delusion.
Mhm.
Do you know this?
Yes, I think we did this in one of the earlier
Yeah,
podcasts.
so I'll
Say
just
it again
quickly
for people.
recap
Yeah.
it. So it was early in the day, and I with the plan was to be in the box, right? And we had some potato chips in the house. I don't even know how the first one happened, but I stopped at 3. Crumpled the bag, put it away. But then I fell into I blew it for the day.
Hmm.
But then I noticed because I wasn't going to be able to check the box, neither box, phase one, 1.5, chips are not in either of those boxes.
Right.
I caught myself thinking about the widening possibilities of dinner for that night, including restaurants,
Yeah.
because I'd had 3 potato chips.
Right.
I was not going to a restaurant if I was in the box. Zero, zero
Right.
point zero chance.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, the wide world of choices and easing up because I had bought into this delusion
Yeah.
that I had blown it for the day.
Yeah. So there's your brain tricking you.
Yep.
Illusion.
Yes.
You didn't three potato chips. How many calories is three potato chips? Like whatever,
25, maybe? I
Yeah,
don't know.
whatever it is. It's certainly not a blow it for the day.
It
But
sounds
in
worse the
time,
more we talk about it, that I
I know.
was like falling into blowing for the day because I spent 25 calories.
Right. Right.
Amazing.
Yeah. Powerful.
Yeah. So now let's bring in
Mm.
that wonderful analogy that Katie from our program shared, which is the flat tire analogy. So for people
My
who haven't
favorite.
heard this one's great. So I blew it for the day. Whenever going forth, should you hear yourself saying these words to yourself, I blew it for the day, what's the point? Remember the flat tire analogy. So if you're driving down the highway and one of your tires go flat, do you ever get out of the car and puncture the remaining 3 tires?
Ha 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 ha. It always gets a laugh, that one, because it's so ridiculous. You
You would
would never do
never do that.
it.
Gina, how is it different? So I punctured a tire. I had 3 potato chips. How is it different? It's like a perfect metaphor.
Right. 100%. And it's funny because the potato chip, because I think this is my personal opinion, it's so rooted in personal failure.
Yes.
People have a harder time seeing how illogical it is. But when you take the tire example, when you say the tire one, that's so logical for people because it's not rooted in their own baggage and their emotion. Does that make sense?
It does. It really
So
does.
it's
It
good to
just
have that.
it just puts it in your face how ridiculous it is to throw the baby out with the bathwater when you had more calories. Let's just be empirical here. You had more calories than you anticipated or hoped for. And now, because in that moment you had more calories, suddenly you're treating all the extra calories you're giving yourself permission to eat as if they don't matter and don't have a consequence.
Right. Exactly. It's as if they just don't count all of a
That's
sudden.
all of a sudden they don't count. Oh my goodness.
So let me just say this because this is how my brain is wired. So if you are that person who had an in the box day planned and you found yourself eating 3 potato chips, Rick and I are here to tell you, don't slash the other 3 tires,
That's
right?
exactly right. That is so
So
right.
even if you eat the whole bag of potato chips, which I mean, you could,
Oh,
people do.
it could be anything that this constitutes being blown, but no matter how much you ate in that instant, it doesn't mean the extra calories you're giving yourself the green light on don't matter and don't have a consequence. It doesn't
Exactly.
matter. The day is not blown because it can get worse, facilitated by buying into the day doesn't matter anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. So pivot. I always say put it on your GPS, reroute, recalculating.
Remember the fasting eating dance from the 80s when all we had was shakes? Do you remember what it was? If you eat out of the box, if you break the fast, make a shake.
Yeah.
Make a shake, make a shake, and make a shake,
Yeah.
and come to class.
Yeah. And write it down.
And write it
Although
down.
that's a tough one for people. But if you can, I think what that does do is it becomes so the bag of potato chips, I mean, the 3 is 3, but the bag, if it ever happened, and it
Yeah.
does,
Yeah.
I mean, in your brain, it's like a million calories. And it's about 2,000, which is a lot, but it's still a number.
Yeah.
And it's easier to manage numbers than it is to manage.
Yes.
If you can't see me, I'm doing like the head blowing up emoji.
That's right. So I'm glad you mentioned that because isn't this just another way of looking more carefully at how powerful emotions are. The I blew it is entirely steeped in emotions because the way we just did the 3 slashing the other 3 tire metaphor, rationally that makes no sense. It will never make sense to slash the other 3 tires. It will, if your goal is to still manage your weight, it will never make sense to take the night off because you blew it earlier in the day. Or if you blew it that night, to take the next day off and wait till Monday. It rationally, it never makes sense. Emotionally, I blew it, solves it. Solves the problem of feeling inconsistent. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to believe the fact that it doesn't matter as the truth.
I have this one member and she's been doing the work a long time and she says that she's very open about the fact that sometimes she has out of the box eating days, or higher calorie eating days, and she says, but no matter what, I write it down. And she said, and one of my things to do's is I end the day with a shake or an entree, a meal replacement. She goes, and it's
Yeah,
counterintuitive
it's great.
because
Yes.
I just had more than I wanted. So why would I ever eat? But she said, but it kind of closes the door, it seals the deal, it resets me, and it brings my brain back to where it needs. It's such a fascinating, because no one would think to do that. No one. If you're eating potato chips, you're not like, oh, well, let me go have an entree. You're going to keep eating really bad, high calorie food. So I just think that's really interesting. And it's a way to kind of get your brain, it's almost like give it a jolt back to where it needs to be.
Absolutely. In fact, the fasting eating dance was make the shake because you've just broken, you're out of the box. You don't want to add more calories. But the fasting eating dance was make a shake, make sure you come to class and, get back in the box.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right away.
basically, it was really this. It was don't eat out of the box, don't eat out of the box, don't eat out of the box.
But if you
But if you
do,
do, make a shake, make sure you come back to class, write it down,
right,
but don't eat out of the box. So
right.
that was
It
the
was like,
dance part. I
right.
finally got it after my third try. Okay, we're running out of time, so
Yes,
we don't
we
have
are.
time for all the rest here. I'll just give you there are three that we potentially could have done. I deserve it. Anyone feel like that resonates? I mean, I think we all say it almost all the time.
All
So
the time.
that one really deserves to be put again under the lens of this whole cognitive humility. And what I'm saying right now in the moment may not actually be based in the facts, but more in emotions. Another one, this isn't working. That's a pretty common one.
Yeah.
This
And it's
isn't working.
it's a real cognitive bias, I guess you would say, right? Is that or even a confirmation one? I mean, you're
Yeah.
convinced that it's just
Yeah. So you and I have talked about this, but just one more point on this. How often would we do what we would call a sort of a numbers analysis with the person?
mm-hmm.
And we would have so many different metrics because we were fanatics and are fanatics about keeping data. So
Right,
this person, this isn't working. It's not working. It's usually I got on the scale. I didn't like what I see.
right.
And then we would step back because we would have weeks, if not months of data. And we would talk about, you've shown up here in the clinic, 97% of the classes. You've never skipped the records. You're tracking things. You're weighing yourself consistently. These are all markers of success. You're practicing behaviors that the
Mm-hmm.
average person doesn't practice at all, and that you're
Right,
practicing them at an extraordinary level.
right,
You're down 50 pounds.
right,
I mean, all of this could be right.
right, right. Just by showing them the facts,
Yes.
data.
So
Yeah.
like this isn't working because of a very short term reaction to a short term result. I'm up on the scale.
Mm-hmm.
We can just ignore all the long term successes. That's how
Yeah.
powerful it is.
Yeah.
How the
And it is
brain.
fascinating how people can actually, perspective, be doing really, really well. And based on 1 week, one weigh in, they're just going to throw it all away.
Yes.
They're convinced, going back to the whole brain tricking you.
Yes.
And so having those facts and keeping the data and being the coach, that's what we do,
Yes.
and helping people understand that is just so helpful for people who sometimes can't do it on their own because they've just got too much
Most
history.
people can't. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
that
so hard.
simple. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just too
most
hard.
people can't.
No.
I'd say 98%.
All right. So, concluding statement, and then a couple of takeaways here. So, our brains are biased. We've talked about that. They're brilliant, but they're often wrong. They're
Right.
emotionally based.
Yes.
We're wired for immediate gratification. I mean, there are all of these things going against us. If all of these things are the case, if that's what we all bring to the table, maybe struggling with weight in the most insane food culture that humans have ever faced, maybe it isn't a character flaw, right?
Right.
Maybe
Absolutely.
it's not. It's a big ol' of course.
Of
Of
course.
course, this is hard. And of course, you have to work to get results. And sometimes the results aren't the ones you're looking for.
Yeah. I remember learning that, the whole of course,
Yes,
and it's really helpful, I think.
I agree. Of course, a little bit less of a reaction. and a little bit more of a clear thinking response. Of
Right.
course, we're
Well,
not
and
going
if
to
we
always
can
be
help
perfect.
people, yeah, and if we can help people see that, then they can do that for themselves,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Without all the judgment and the shame that come along with it, which people spend a lot of time on. And
So to wrap, we started with the whole idea of cognitive humility, just sort of accepting the fact that our brains, as great as they are, can be fooled, and that we can sometimes craft stories that are invalidating and disempowering, and upon closer scrutiny are wrong.
yeah,
Imagine that. That's a biggie, I
that's
think.
a big one. Yeah.
We just talked about being empirical.
Hmm.
The records are just so important.
Yeah,
Try doing this
absolutely.
without records.
Yeah. I know when people do resist that one, but it is so important. I mean, I do them, so it helps me.
Been doing them since '89,
I People think
personally.
we're
Well,
crazy,
you
but
have too, both of us since
yeah,
'89.
no, I know people think we're crazy, but it
And,
really makes a difference.
and
100%.
then I'll just repeat what we said. Pause when you're really looking into the abyss. Pause for a moment. No, don't fight that urge to do a snap judgment, black and white thinking, which is again what we all do. But pause, give yourself a moment to breathe, and then what we just said: make the next successful choice.
Yeah. What's the next best thing? Even if it doesn't seem necessarily logical, because it might go against what your brain is trying to
You have
tell
more
you to.
calories from the shake.
Right. Doesn't seem logical.
I'll take the shift in mindset of doing something successful over the cost of expending another 120 calories on a shake. To me, it
Right.
doesn't even compare if I can get the brain going back on a successful mode of thinking.
Right. And this is another podcast, but how many examples do you have? I mean, I have a million personally and with members that, people they struggle over having that extra shake for 120 calories, but they don't think twice once they've gotten into this, I blew it mentality of eating thousands of extra calories. It is sort of interesting, but again, it's what our brains are doing. They're tricking us.
That's
So,
it. I think that's sort of the message here.
yeah,
All right. So, Gina, the lines are the same length.
not fair.
The lines are
I blew
parallel.
it.
There were no skew lines there.
I lost all my money
The
today.
circles are not going in a circle. They're going up and down across the diameter.
Yeah,
And
you got to send those to me because
oh,
I need to get a little confirmation on this because I don't know about it. I'm telling you.
all right. Well, I look forward to hearing how the conversation
Yeah.
with Jeff goes. Okay.
All righty.
All right. Talk to you later.